foggy morning here to start, but we have a dumpster bag pickup that we need to go get. And if you guys follow the channel, you've seen in the past, I've come up with some creative ways to get them picked up. Anything from an excavator on my trailer where I reach over and grab it, or, you know, a fancy rail system that I try to fabricate and make work, which all of those things worked. But lately, I've actually just been using the roll-off trailer I have, the dumpster, and the winch that comes on it. And then I get them loaded up and I move on. Way more efficient, a lot less running around. So let me show you how I do it because it's been working pretty well for us. All right, that went pretty well. I was happy with that. From this point, we need to go use the rest of the open morning to get some equipment loaded. That way we can kind of move on to the rest of the day. Loaded up the snow pusher from one location. Now we're gonna go ahead and pick up some forks and grapple buckets. Somebody had a case of FOMO and had to tag along. I gave Keegan a head start while I got the trailer loaded, but man, I still beat him to our meeting point. But I'm basically gonna follow behind him with the hazards until he gets to the next spot. Gotta love a small town. The city's basically blocked, got the whole street blocked. They're tearing up a water line, so. Last attachment though. What an awesome fitment. Plow, grapple, and my new set of forks. It worked out perfect. Well, that looks a little different. I was literally just at my shop yesterday and my neighbor's building was there. My neighbor's building is now gone. A construction company works really fast. If you don't follow the channel, or if you do, you already know that a Dollar General is getting built next door and they're gonna be putting up a nice big privacy fence between us. But yeah, I guess the old restaurant in town is now gone. I've never seen the side of the shop because it was always 6 inches from my building. Well, it's always something. Water line broke inside of the shop today. That is so cool. Man, this was going on a long time. So the valve here failed, but the weird thing is it's the winter time and I had the water turned off. So now I'm confused. I, of course, am in a huge hurry and have somewhere to be, so Keegan is actually just gonna get all this stuff unloaded. We're down to the last piece and we're gonna get out of here. I'll come back out later and try to start cleaning up this mess. It's always something with us. So that was a total cluster. It's still a mystery as to why the water even got into the building since I had the water turned off when the winter started, but I've called the water company. They can't explain it. They just assume I left it on. But there's been a lot of confusion out there with the demolition of that old restaurant next to my shop. At one point, 811 was out marking around my property and I stopped a guy and I said, "Hey, why do you guys keep marking my property line?" And he said, "Well, man, it's got your address and even your business name on this ticket, and next to it, it says for demolition." So I made sure to reach out to, you know, the guys that were coordinating this Dollar General, and I told them, hey, there's a lot of confusion going on, and I just want to make sure nothing happens to my property. You know, it doesn't get torn down. It needs a lot of work, but, you know, it's still standing. I kind of want to keep it that way. I'd also noticed that the address of the new Dollar General was mine, and I'm kind of like, am I going to show up and my shop's going to be gone? To add insult to injury, that is a new gas meter because they tore it out. Believe it or not, you can kind of see this gas meter used to actually have 2 meters here. It ran up, that gas line, which is so ugly, runs across the building and goes to that Dollar General. Well, they ended up taking both of them out because that's what the work order told them to. So I had to call them back the next day and tell them to come put this one back in, which involved them digging this whole part of my property up and over there by the front. Needless to say, this hasn't been the best coordinated job. The subcontractor is doing a pretty good job, but you know, the people who are actually coordinating the sale of this property and obviously the contractor, which is out of state, have not done a very good job. Luckily, the subcontractor is much more aware of the area and that my building is not the one that's supposed to get torn down, but it has definitely been a headache. One thing that's not so cool though is the subcontractor did use one of my dumpsters to you know, kind of get some of the last of the demolition, what was supposed to be mostly foam and insulation and wood. I told him, you know, your best bet is actually going to go with the bigger guys. I was honest, I didn't want to take advantage of them. I like this company. But his operator pretty much filled the entire, I'd say, half of it with dirt and very wet dirt along with concrete and a little bit of brick. So what I'm going to do now is scrape some of that out, move it to one of my smaller bins. I went ahead and tried to pick it up. I mean, it actually got onto the trailer, but I knew we were pushing, you know, nearly 7 tons. And I was like, you know, it's not worth it. You know, most of you guys would just say, send it, or, you know, give it to that guy. You make him pay for it. You know, sometimes customer service goes a long way. I've got the time today, so I'm going to take care of it. One thing I did notice that is kind of a bummer, and like I said, I like the contractor, but I don't think that the actual operator was very aware of how heavy he was actually packing this in. They were using a full-size excavator. It's hard to see here, but he basically separated the side of the dumpster from the actual bottom of the dumpster in a lot of spots. A lot of welds are popped down here, and you can almost see the material inside of here because well, he was pushing so hard with the excavator that it pretty much blew out the sides of the wall. But you know what? That's why they make welders. That's also why I'm not a huge fan of these Lone Star dumpsters. They're all right, but the welds aren't as good, the metal's a lot thinner, and the paint quality is terrible, especially compared to my Max D dumpsters. Those hold up way better. Oh, and then I forgot to mention, my jack that was up is now stuck. I believe the reason why is because when the entire shop flooded with water, I'm sure all that went into there. I'm not exactly sure how these work, but I know there is some kind of water oil separator. And when I started to lower it, it lowered most of the way, and then oil just started pouring out of this drain here. So yeah, if anybody knows anything about these post lifts, please tell me, how do I get it back down? Again, my biggest suspicion is that somehow a bunch of water got into there. I'm trying not to whine, but this bad luck really needs to stop. Anyway, let's just get some work done. right, we got a decent load here. So we cut all of that out of this dumpster. What you couldn't see there was the 3 or 4 huge slabs of concrete that I pulled out. So yeah, it was definitely overloaded. I'd estimate we were somewhere in the 7 to 8 ton range. The funny thing is, Max D was here over the weekend. They're doing some, I don't know, video series about other guys running businesses with their trailers. What was funny is they saw that thing getting loaded and then they were like, are you going to be able to pick that thing up? So I showed them how I picked up heavy dumpsters, and I did, but you could tell they were sweating. They're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's probably more than we would recommend. Like, we test them that heavy, but we don't want to really see you, you know, break it by doing something like that. So I told them, I was like, yeah, you know what? It's probably not even worth it to haul this. So we're going to empty it. Luckily, we're here at the shop, you know, this isn't really hurting me that much. And like I said, the subcontractor's super cool. He's like, hey, if my guy really did overload it, go ahead, scrape it out, charge me for 2 dumpsters. So super cool dude. He's just like, you know, don't go breaking your stuff. But you know, he was pretty grateful. But Max D was pretty impressed to see how well we could load it and how smooth it was. It was just probably not recommended. You know, 8 tons, we're pushing it. Got it loaded on the backup truck and the backup trailer. Let me tell you what, this might be the heavier portion of the deal. So we'll make sure Keegan gets this one picked up. He gets it empty tomorrow, and then I'll follow up. I'll either get this empty tomorrow or he'll come and get it later. So I'll get it to town for now, but we're good now. We're driving safer. That's what's important. Great timing. Keegan rolled up. I've got that one loaded. We'll get this one that he emptied just a little bit, dropped on the ground, and then we'll pick up that bad boy. So we're home, trucks are loaded for tomorrow. Stay tuned for a couple more seconds and we will actually go see what that weighs tomorrow morning, see how much that would have been if we would have just taken 1 dumpster. I'm sure it's not pretty. I'll tell you what though, I was very excited for this Dollar General to be built next to my shop. I thought it'd be great just for the community and for just that area. Thought it would help my property value, but it has been nothing but a pain since it started. Since the sale of this property, they've had me running around getting notarized documents signed so that we could remove an easement between the properties, since it used to be a shared space. But I mean, they've been nothing but kind of really inconsiderate and rude. And to be honest, at one point they actually offered me a price to sell my property. And I'll just tell you what, it was insulting. The guy even said, hey man, I for this area, it's really good. I know you're young, but this is a really good price. Where he lost me, I basically said, no man, sorry, not interested. I might be young, but I'm not an idiot. It was less than what it appraised for when I bought it, and I know it's gone up since then. So, like I said, no thanks. But I will be excited once it is fully built. We'll have a fence between our property line. I'll have way less to worry about, and it can let me kind of focus on my space without that whole roundabout situation there where everybody is kind of just abusing my property, to be honest. Let's see what these dumpsters come out to weigh. As you can tell, I'm not in the office and I'm not in the truck. I needed a break from all that today, needed to hit the gym. So the cool thing is I took my tablet with me and I was able to still stay on track. So I just got a notification from Keegan because he just entered the weights from those dumpsters. If you follow the channel, you know that I'm a huge fan of Docket now. I made the switch this year and it made me feel so foolish. It took me so long because I am so much more efficient than I used to be. And it's amazing the power that I have right behind this tablet. Combined weight, just as I suspected, we were right at 8 tons, nearly exactly. And I even took out a few slabs of concrete and threw those to the side. So very heavy single dumpster that we split up between those two. The cool thing is now that Keegan's done with that, what I can do is I can go into that task, I can mark it, and now I can actually just push that invoice through because I do have that contractor's credit card. So right there, we just got paid. And that's what I care about. Something I would have had to probably fight for before. But like I said, Docket, I'm a huge fan of now. I mean, it's making my processes go way smoother, and it makes for a really good customer experience. So take a look at the description below, hit that link, and then sign up for a free demo. There's no obligation, but I promise you, once you see what they have to offer, you'll be like me and you'll want to make the switch, because at the end of the day, my processes are running way smoother and it's helping my bottom line. Let me know what you think. That's all she wrote though, guys. I hope to catch you in one of the next ones. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow, and keep grinding out there. See you next time.